item for probably 2,000 or 3,000. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Today is Monday, July 10th. It is 7 p.m. Will everybody please rise for Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, roll call, we have all of us here tonight. Sorry I missed the last meeting. We're gonna move into adopting the agenda, but before we do that, I would like to ask the council for us to approve a special meeting for this Thursday at 8:30 a.m. to discuss an employment issue with our city clerk treasurer. So I will need a second and. Second. All right.
Was that me?
Yes. He second.
I apologize, Mayor, I already have a commitment, I will be out of town, is it the 13th?
Yes, 13.
I will be out of town on the 13th, so I will not be able to make that.
Okay. That leaves 4.
This is a closed?
This is a closed special meeting, yes, it will not be open.
Let me check. I can read that.
Okay. I'm good. You're good? Yep. All right, so that'll be 4 of us for the meeting. So is there any other discussion or any questions regarding this?
Meeting?
Yes, sir.
I assume since it's closed, there really can't be answers.
No, I can't answer that. Okay.
Then I have none.
All right, so we will have a special closed meeting at 8:30 in the morning on the 13th. 4 of us will be there. And I guess, Fritz, do we have to call for a vote on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of the closed special meeting on the 13th, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on, we need to adopt our agenda for tonight's meeting. Is there anything that we would like to add to the meeting? Does anybody like to add anything?
I would like to ask, the new business, we could move the, item number 4, commercial property proposal, up to number 1. We have a guest here who will, questions that we want to, rather than keep it to a plan. Is that what?
Okay, so we're gonna move, the commercial property proposal up to number 1. Just move everything below that. Any other additions or?
And I do have one, and while we're on that, item number 9 was added. I'm sorry, agenda item number 3, if you turn to that, on page 51. Item number 9,
I'll make
on page 51, should be new business. This agenda item was moved forward from the last meeting. That's why it's old business. So if you go to page 51, there was an addition made to the agenda report. Number 9, there were emails added. That should be new business, that is not old business. There's a topic there, it says email from Nancy Hoffman. That was not on the last agenda, that was added.
So that's new.
That's new business, not old business.
So number 7, is this an email?
So if we could, yeah, move, number 9, email from Nancy Hoffman regarding the commercial lot property, move that to new business.
I'm not seeing where you.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Page 51. Here, let me find it.
So which agenda item is it on, old business?
It's agenda item number 3,
Okay, under old business.
and the agenda report that you have in your packet, which is page 51.
The printed copies don't have the numbers on them, so that's why.
Well, I'll wait. That's fine.
The email from Nancy Hoffman is part of the discussion to declare the commercial property as permanent public space.
Correct, but it was added to old business. It is now old business. This is now new business. That was added to this agenda. I take great, I mean, I'm really, it's really great that somebody could, copy the font, the type font, the Times New Roman and everything, and add it in and make it look like it was part of the old business, but it's not.
What are you
It was
talking
added
about?
later.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
It's just information about.
It's right here. It's right here, Larry.
It's part of the discussion.
No, but it's new business. It is not the old business that was from the last meeting. This agenda item was moved forward. That's why it's old business. This item, this email from Nancy Hoffman, number 9, was added
Yeah.
between then and now by somebody. It is now new business. It cannot be old business. So I'm requesting that that item
I don't
become
see
new
why it's
business.
part of the discussion under new business.
But it's added to an old business agenda item from last month. It's now new business.
So you're asking the whole agenda item be moved to new?
No, just that topic number 9, email from Nancy Hoffman is new business.
And
It
that
is
would
not
be number
old
7
business.
on our agenda for tonight.
Okay. Does it make sense?
So you want to separate it away from what the email talks about?
It is separated, it's new business. It was not part of the original agenda item. It was added between June and July.
So, Fritz, just, I want to make sure that we get everything correct. We'll move the email to new business, that'll be number 7 for tonight's agenda, but we're still gonna discuss, the declaring the commercial property, city property, and then sell it. When we get to that email, would there be a point to discuss the email if we pass that we want to keep it as a city property?
Well, probably not, but I would suggest that you consider the two of them together. So if you're gonna do anything, I would suggest you defer in deference to the technical point that's been raised here. You defer all discussion until item 7 at the
Okay,
end.
so move it all to business.
Move it all.
You got it. Okay. So we're gonna take the old business, number 3, consideration to declare commercial lot property, all the way down to new business number 7, because we have a new email. Does that work, Troy?
Yes, that's great.
Awesome. Any, other changes that we would like to do to old or new business on tonight's agenda?
Make the motion, we adopt the agenda as discussed.
Okay.
I request that we move number 7 to number 1 under new business.
You wanna go the commercial property downtown before our guest from the commercial, you wanna put them together?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll merge them both. Yep. So instead of, we're gonna merge number 3 and number 1 on new business together. Or 4. Well, you know what, we gotta stop for a second, because the commercial property proposal that I have is for the one up the hill, not downtown.
Okay, well,
So,
so,
we gotta keep them separated.
okay,
But we can move number 7 to number 1.
okay, and then consider the commercial property and the email from.
Everything number 1.
Okay, business, okay.
Yep. Okay, I have a motion to adopt, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of passing tonight's agenda with the changes, say aye.
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 All right, next
Could
is.
I just, so, number 7 and number 1 are both consideration to declare the commercial property at 680 and the commercial property proposal.
No, so number 3 under old business and the email from Nancy Hoffman are gonna be our new business number 1 now.
Okay.
And we're still gonna leave number 4 alone, because that's a different discussion.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to adopt the consent agenda for tonight's packet. Is there any, questions on the consent agenda?
have one point to raise, not necessarily to pull it up for discussion, however. One of our invoices, here, I've got it here, sorry. Page 2425 from one of our firms, the calculation was wrong at the bottom. So, page 24 in the packet. What it is a invoice from Holstead and Canuck dated July 3rd. I just wanted to point out that the email address on both of those invoices is incorrect. We should have taylorsfalls.org. And then on the invoice dated July 3rd, page 24, the dates are incorrect. That's June 1, 2023 should be through June 30th, 2023. And then the calculation at the bottom, total balance due, we're paying for May and June because May was not paid. 2002-25 and 2002-25 should actually be 4,450, not 4,500. I did check the check register, and Mary, you did pay those correctly.
Thank
So
you.
it didn't go off the invoice.
Thanks, Ray. I apologize for the inaccuracies. Since that's my-
I wasn't gonna say anything. It's just right here.
Anything else on the consent agenda tonight? I'll need a motion in a second to approve the consent agenda, please.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, we have to approve, in our packet, we have some updated minutes from January. We do need to approve these minutes. Are there any questions on these minutes that were in the package? Okay, I'll need a motion in a second to approve the minutes in the package.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna move on to public forum. Michelle, come on. Yes.
Just have a couple questions I hope you can answer. This thing on Saturday, Junk Park, is this a real company?
You know, I know they were here last year, and they were here before.
Yeah.
Last year they got a little bigger. My guess is they're running it as a company, because it's one individual.
So it should be registered with the state of Minnesota and,
I'm assuming they would be.
okay. My concern is, like the liability, we're doing hammers and nails and saws and I know City of Taylor Falls probably handles some of the insurance, if God forbid something happens. Does this company also burden some of this if, God forbid something happens?
I couldn't speak for that company. I would personally think they would, but, does anybody up in council wish to speak? Or if they know?
I don't know, it's a good question. I think it's something that, any of our vendors, we should have proof of insurance.
Right.
I mean, I think it,
Especially if it's a real company, it should be insured and bonded, so.
and I'm assuming they are as well.
Yep.
But it'd be a good question for our insurance, for Jim as well. But,
Just don't want the city to have
It's a-
to burden it all, you know.
the typical provision for businesses to carry liability insurance, so.
That was
But,
it.
to Mayor's point, I don't know for a fact either.
I'll do some digging. I'll reach out tomorrow.
Okay, I just don't want them to get hurt. Not, they are hurt, you
Yep.
know, but.
Thank you.
Can I make one comment?
Yeah,
I
please.
know the Lions Club does carry liability insurance, so any activities that we're helping sponsor, we do carry liability insurance for those events.
Okay.
All right, I have one other, Sandra?
I was told early on that they were bonded. Now, I didn't check this year. The other thing is, the reason we are the Wanigan Days is, a committee of the city. And this is after talking to, Jim Stein that first year. That's why we are covered under your umbrella. Everybody. The bands, the stage, if somebody slips on the stage, everybody's covered.
Thank you. We do have one other public forum individual. He owns a business in town, James Buck, and he would like to take a couple minutes and chat with us. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me and being able to talk today to you guys. Yeah, I just, little background story of me and stuff. Buck Duncan is my name. I just opened a business called The Bridge, Cannabis Collective and Wellness here on Bench Street in St. Croix, or in Taylor's Falls, not St. Croix Falls. And yeah, right now we're just kind of, we just opened up. We're a family-run company. I've been licensed for about 6 years now, growing on my farm, selling products. I have a store at St. Paul that I've been selling at for about just over 4 years now. Kind of got into the whole thing because I personally was affected. I was in 2 really bad car accidents 10 years ago. I have herniated discs in my lower back, neck, leg, and foot got all messed up. They put me on prescription drugs, gabapentin, tramadol. I was seeing doctors, chiropractors, neurologists, and I wasn't getting much relief. And in fact, I was feeling worse. I had tons of brain fog from the medication. Just my mood was bad. I was constantly focusing on my pain. You know, will I get better? Can I get better? How do I get better? And just through a friend, they kind of introduced me to a cannabis topical to apply to my body, and I rubbed it on, and it was immediate, like the relief I experienced from my pain, and it just kind of led me to think more and more about what I was doing to treat my own issues and problems that I was having. And then it started to make me think, like, what can I do to help other people too? Because so many people are suffering with a lot worse things than I was dealing with, and they've been on pills and drugs for years and years and had so many problems and side effects from those that it really empowered me to kind of want to help other people do this. And so, going back to my family farm in Wisconsin, I had to kind of convince my parents to let me grow on their farm. They're both work at Hazel and Betty Ford. My dad's been in recovery for 40 years, intervention, drug counselor. My mom's a detox nurse there, so it was a challenge just to show and convince them the benefits of this and do it. But I was able to do that, and then they were really open to it. My dad actually was consuming CBD until he passed away and stuff, but yeah, he never felt like it was non-addictive, it wasn't psychoactive, it wasn't impacting his health and stuff. And so for us, our whole goal is we want people to feel good. We don't want to promote cannabis use for people who just want to get messed up in their lives. There's so many other things they can do for that. For us, this is about health, wellness. We're not looking to be a vape shop, a smoke shop, who's just trying to market to people to make money. Like, our intentions for this are, we truly want people to feel good. And coming to Taylor's Falls back from our store in St. Paul and stuff, my partner, she's from Taylor's Falls originally, and we love this community. We live close by, and so it just was a great opportunity for us to get this place and to do this here. And for us, we really want to just bring back, remove stigmas from this plant, remove taboos from it, make it feel comforting and welcoming, and just have it as another option for people who aren't getting the relief they maybe want. And again, it's just like anything we do in life. Like, this isn't a blank slate, an answer to everyone's problems and questions, but I do think it is a great thing to have as another option in this area for the local community, for people here who are struggling with their own health and wellness, and then also as just an economical impact with, all this stuff happening with dispensaries coming down and all the licensing of that. Could play a big role in just boosting the local economy in this area as well. yeah, and I feel that you guys keep pursuing this cannabis licensing and figuring this out would just be a really good and beneficial thing for the city of Taylor's Falls to kind of pursue it in a way that maybe doesn't wrap those stigmas around it and those ideas of, oh, people are just so high, they're gonna, fall into the river, or they're gonna, disown their family and stuff. It's, in our country, I know what we've seen is alcohol and tobacco, probably the two most devastating drugs in our population, are so accepted and fully, in everyone's face constantly, and I just feel like something like this could be a big boost to the, local city and to the community just in general, so, I just thank you for having me and let me say that today, and I appreciate it.
Say, Buck.
Yeah.
Product that you're in your store now, it's all within legal limits,
Yes,
and it's mostly CBD.
correct.
Could you just explain the difference between the CBD and the THC?
Yeah, so they're just different cannabinoids in the plants. THC would be the one that most people would associate with like a psychoactive effect, a high from it. They bond to different receptors in your body actually. So like THC bonds to what's called your CB1 receptors. They're in your brain, spinal cord, central nervous system. That's why they give you the high or activate the psychoactivity in the body. Where your CBD receptors are called your CB2 receptors. They're in your blood cell, stem cell, immune system, fertility system, autonomic nervous system, and somewhat in the central nervous system. But the CBD produces no high effect, mainly because it's not bonding to that receptor area in the body. And I would say for most people, like the benefits we see that people are trying to use the CBD for are sleep, pain, stress, anxiety, and then you get more broader health ailments with cancer, MS, Parkinson's, neuropathy, autoimmune disorders, COPD, autism, Asperger's, ADD, ADHD, colitis, diverticulitis, Crohn's, celiac, immune system, fertility, like really it just goes on, but I feel like the big ones that I get the most in common things are kind of those aspects, and then even with the THC things that you can offer now in the state, starting since last summer and stuff, the low potency edible things, I would say the majority of the people that we give those to now even they're looking at this, it's a sleep benefit, it's a pain benefit, it's not the intention that we find with our customers anyways. It doesn't seem to be like they're just thriving for this high or this buzz or chasing something they want, it's more of we wanna feel better and just improve our own kind of health and wellness. Yeah.
We'll, invite you back, to another meeting where we get you on the agenda, but I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks again, yeah.
Thank you. All right, moving on to old business, we have an update on the water bill. Mary, what have we collected so far?
I don't have that number, one just came in today, that was, we haven't gotten too many since the last update that I gave you.
Okay.
But they're just kind of dwindling in a little bit, though. I'm hoping after this last, weekly bill that went out, we'll get a few more, I'll just recover it.
All right.
I can just add a little bit to
Please.
that. Been working with Mary on this, that we do continue to have payment activity. 3 or 4 payment plans have been established, and they've been keeping up with them so far. So they're making an effort. One delinquent account has requested their outstanding balance be certified to the county. So they have no intention of paying us directly, apparently. And in September and October, the Lakes and Pines will offer another round of grants for those in need. So we'll be advertising that like we did last time when we get more information on that. But one thing that the city, our city council needs to do is make a decision on how we plan to pursue the delinquencies later this year, so that if we want to go the certification route, we'll have time to implement. And I would say we should make that decision no later than our second meeting in September. Just, I think, from a timeline of when the county requires their information. So an example would be, you know, people have a payment plan with us and they're making a good faith effort to pay it, and they've been consistently paying, we certify that, for example, as compared to the other person who evidently has no intention of paying. And that's it.
Okay. Any questions, council? Okay, thank you, Tim, appreciate it. All right, let's move on to number 2, the old business, Boone and Crowder Gable. Welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us back again. It's a pleasure to be in town, so I just wanted to be in Taylor's Falls. I put a couple things in the packet. I know the last time I was here, I think one thing you guys were,
This is my gun, I think you have it up here in the back.
Yeah.
A little closer.
yeah, it's kind of right into one, right? I sent a few emails with some information I put in the packet, just, I know I put some of the highlights of the bill in, there was quite a couple questions that you guys had last time. I hope that if you read it, it kind of fell in, what you wanted to know. The last time we were here, the word premature was used, and from your guys' point of view, I understand why you think, that's the case, but from my point of view, like, we're on a timeline. The state is as early as October, but maybe not till the first of the year, they'll start, accepting applications, and there's a huge checklist, it's a scorecard application. And so that means that by the time that the applications come through, or come up for, you know, we have to have those check marks done before the application gets sent in. And, we want to get into the space and make sure that, you know, we can get those strict requirements completed and make sure that it's a, you know, a safe space for, you know, everything. And I have 2 examples. One of the requirements is that the cannabis cannot be seen from outside the business, and the location that we're looking at, it's got windows, so that's something that we're gonna, you know, we're gonna block it or put a wall in somewhere. And then another big one is ventilation, proper ventilation for the business as well, especially with the location that we're looking at. We've already been in there, like I said, it's pretty solid concrete, so we're pretty confident that it won't smell outside of it, but we wanna get that proper ventilation and make sure that it's as good as we possibly can get it. The last time I spoke, a lot about us wanting to be part of the community here. Like I said, I grew up coming here every summer with family. I love Taylor's Falls, take my kids here, we go to Wild Mountain, we go to the ice cream shop outside here, drive in. And one of our big things, like I said last time, I can't stress enough, is just the safety. This cannabis is here, it's coming obviously legally now. And, there's a lot of, issues with drugs being cut with products, and these people are getting sick, or some people are dying, you know, cutting it with fentanyl and stuff like that, so that's always a big concern for us. As well as keeping it in the hands of, you know, legal adults, and keeping it in the hands of teens and children. And one of the other big things the state wants us to do is make sure that nobody under that age gets their hands on product from dispensary. And I have that, we built that plan in place, we already have an employee training system set up. I mean, we've been going, like I said, we've kind of been planning this in the background for a few years, and I've done a lot of research, I've been around different states, checked out different places, worked with a few different people, just to kind of learn the wheels and stuff like that. We'd like to get this thing going, and, like I said, the applications are coming, we wanna make sure that we're ready to go. And like I said, whether we get an approval or not, now or in a month, or whatever, that won't obviously end my communication with you guys, because we're not only here to be for the community, we wanna be a part of, you know, we wanna grow and help out when we can, you know, make sure that, Mr. Bud's, our dispensary is a local destination point for cannabis users. Wanna make sure that people feel comfortable coming as the first time or their 10th time. And, we're gonna be training all our employees so they can assist people properly and make sure everyone's getting the proper help they need. As well as obviously, that will be on site pretty much every day to make sure that gets done. Any questions? Hopefully got the answer for you.
Is the state currently accepting your applications yet?
No, the state said that as early as October, but not possibly not until the first of the year.
Okay.
And the only reason that, like I said, we came so early is because that checklist for the scoring system for that application is, you know, it's pretty hefty, and I've I've checked off everything I can check off without having a physical building, and that's what we're.
Okay, and there are certain things that the city has control over.
Yeah, and I think.
As far as you running your business.
Yeah, I have, in the packet, I included a portion of the bill
Yeah.
that tells, what the cities can, what they can, what say they have and don't have.
So, the hours that you can operate?
Yep, that's something that we can work out, that's something that needs to be worked out between us and you.
And, I guess there's also some, gray area as to how many dispensaries a city is
Yep.
allowed to have.
So my understanding of the bill as it's read, I've read through it as many times as I can. My understanding of it is that 10,000 population or under, can have at least one, has to have at least one, or can be allowed to have at least one. The city can choose to have more if they want it, but that is a decision obviously that the council makes.
And, fellow council members, do you think that, the issue needs to be put before the planning commission to flesh it out some more?
Yeah, funny you brought that up. Elizabeth and I and the planning commission have started circulating emails to set up a time for the planning commission to have a meeting to start discussing, what they want to bring to the council for us to act on, whether it be how many, license fee, et cetera. And so they're in the process, and Elizabeth's been getting things together to comparing some of the other cities that have already gotten ahead of us a little on applications and whatnot. So they have put that in. I think they wanted to meet this week, and it was not gonna happen because we couldn't post it then, but, we're working on that. That will be posted for the public to join, as well.
That's good.
Any further questions? We appreciate with all the information you provided us. It's definitely gonna help. I did, share that information with our zoning and planning, and we'll let you know when that meeting is
Okay.
available.
Yeah,
Posted. And, just bear with us.
Yeah,
We're not gonna,
yeah, right.
we're not gonna be fast at making the decision, because we
Yeah.
wanna do it correctly
Yeah,
for,
for sure.
everybody. And so, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Can I just make one more comment, pertaining to the other presentation tonight too? I've been kind of going through social media and see, how the public has been responding to this, and I've noticed a couple of Taylor's Falls related sites. There's a lot of anxiety around this, and can well imagine there's a wide range of feelings on this bill and the law. So I would just ask the public, just to be patient with us, and
Yeah.
also those potential licensees. There's a lot of learning that we all need to do. Our planning commission needs to learn, they need to talk, and they need to present a recommendation. But I can't speak for the council as a whole, but I imagine you're all with me on this. That we all desire a robust process be put in place that will include public comment and participation.
Sure.
So we're not gonna make this decision in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So, it's amazing what you see on social media.
Mhm.
And, I can't respond.
Yeah.
But, just a request for everybody to be patient and know that we're gonna perform due diligence on this process.
100%.
And just so everybody knows too, that the full bill has been posted on our website, so, if you're looking for reading material, 330 pages is all online for it. You might pick something up that we haven't picked up in first place, so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, number 3 will be the generator update. Lee or Tim?
Yeah, I've been searching a lot on the internet, talked to a few guys, talked to Ziegler, Caterpillar, and, supposedly, towards the end of July here, the company's supposed to be making the part that's bad, that they originally said was obsolete. But I did find one on the internet, so I'm gonna contact people tomorrow and see if they'll ship us one. It's from a Ford dealership up in Canada. And it's quite a bit cheaper than what one of the new ones is gonna be, so hopefully that'll get it going again.
I was gonna say, and then once they're manufactured, you can have a spare.
Right. Right.
And this is the generator, the lift station that you took?
Yeah, oh, but waste treatment ponds, yeah, that generator there, yeah. Yeah. There's actually the engine control module that they made obsolete. So they have, there's so many particular Ford, V6 engines, industrial engines running stuff, they have quite amazing. So, yeah, kind of interesting.
Thanks for your research, digging into it.
Yeah.
Saving us some money, the taxpayers some money, appreciate it.
Yep.
Any further questions? All right, let's move on to number 5, junk park. The reapproved amount of $599 for the Lonigan days. It was $600. So I need a motion and a second, so we.
Would you like a little history on that?
Yeah, please.
Can we open it up and then have a conversation?
Well, I think we gotta do a second. A motion,
So I
second,
make a
so-
motion.
Okay.
To, open discussion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
There you go. Take it away then.
Okay, just to give just a little recap what happened. When we were planning, Junk Park, it was asked that we pay them $600 for one of the days this year, which is all fine and dandy. But what that triggers is paying taxes on that money, setting up 1099, okay? But we also have to have a file with the city, a W-4.
Is it W4 or W9?
W-4.
Okay.
Excuse me, W-9, excuse me,
You're welcome.
W-9, one of them. There's so many W's out there, W-9. So anyhow, we need that information filed with the city, whether it's $599 or $600. Because we at least need an address for the company, which we don't have right now. And this wasn't gotten many years ago like it should have been. I mean, it just kind of snowballed. When the $600 was triggered, we had to make sure we had it before getting paid, and that's when the council member and his family decided to make it $599. But still doesn't
Okay,
take issue.
please back up. The council member and his family decided to make it.
No, no, I
$5.99.
said that.
And you made it? Okay.
This was
But-
me.
Yep. Okay. Well, it was through Jerry, and Jerry's email sent out. Was
Is Jerry on the
$599.
council?
No, but you are.
Okay.
It's your family, and so
Council
you
member
need
and
to
his
be
family.
most transparent because it's you and your family that's involved, right?
And were they asked for a W9 last year?
They should have been.
Are there other vendors that actually received more than that and still ask for W9?
No, we get them.
Oh, you do? Because I've heard from contractors that.
I can
that
speak
you
on
were-
that, just to let you know, both of you guys, since you're getting heated.
I know the auditor asked
You,
one.
we did find out that we haven't been doing that correctly at all, and so that's something that we need to change.
Right.
And so I spoke to Mary and the rest of the office, and from now on, everybody that's done anything for us is gonna be getting one, to get into our computer system so we can track these things. We have some people that have reached out to us and they did get them last year, and it's caused some issues, and so
It's not the city clerk being vindictive or anything, it's just a process you have to go through.
and the process was never put in
Right.
place.
So the issue is the
I
dollar
asked-
amount or the W9?
I also asked-
Fill out a W-9 and with an address and everything on it.
Okay.
They wanna put on social security number, that's up to them at that point.
The
because it's
agenda
not
item
required.
says $599 though, change the approval amount. I guess I'm confused. What
The
is the
confusion
agenda item
is that
we're
you
dealing
approved
with?
600, now you're
Yeah.
asking to change it.
I'm asking to change it? I haven't asked to
No.
change anything.
Jerry has to change
Jerry
it to
has to change
$599,
it.
so she doesn't have, so the junk park doesn't need to fill out a W-9.
Okay.
And so, from what I understand, no matter what, we're still gonna require it from everybody that's done business. There's a letter going out to everybody next week that's ever done any business from us, with us in the last year and a half. They will be getting that request across the board.
Right.
And it's getting in our system so that.
Cause I know
Okay.
Mary
That's
chased
good
this
to know.
spring for W-9s from the auditors that we needed them, so.
So the
It's
issue
not
is
just-
the W9, it's not the dollar amount.
Exactly.
Oh,
Because the agenda item says change the check amount to $599, that wouldn't matter then.
No, it doesn't matter. We can, the check's already cut. $600 check is cut. And so we just.
Then
need
we'll
to-
rip it up and we'll write a new one.
That's fine, but we're
Because
still gonna require a
It, listen,
Or 99, sorry.
There's too many numbers involved.
So it wouldn't matter if it was 600 or 599, they're still gonna ask for a W-9, correct?
They are, it's
Okay.
been the problem of getting it,
It's been a problem getting it?
yes. So that's all I'm saying. We're gonna require it before a check is handed up.
So the real agenda item here is a W-99 for Junk Park, regardless of the amount they're being charged.
Exactly.
Okay, so the agenda item is wrong, it has nothing to do with the check amount.
I didn't ask for it to be put on the agenda. That was, I believe your wife that asked for it to be put on the agenda.
My wife put stuff on the agenda, I don't think so.
No, I got it sent to me and I had put it on the agenda.
Okay,
Okay,
somebody
so
made the
Brandon
request.
put it on the agenda
Okay.
after she asked for the check amount to be
She
changed.
requested.
And we were under the understanding until we found out from Brad Adamdo that if we changed to $5.99, we wouldn't have to do this and we could avoid doing all this. But the whole problem is we haven't been doing it right in the first place. For how many years, we have no clue. We're gonna start moving forward. This is an attack against Junk Park. This is, everybody's gonna get one.
if it's
It looked like
everybody,
it
it's
does look-
everybody, but
Yeah.
Becky hasn't even gotten one for the,
She will.
yeah. But I mean, this is just picking out Junk Park because it's,
And I put it on.
Troy's
there.
family.
I put it on to change it to $5.99 just because in the email she requested me.
But that
was
wasn't-
before we knew.
That wasn't Sandra's point. Her point was you're picking out Junk Park just because.
I'm not.
It's my.
no, I didn't say they were, but that's the situation.
Right, it's.
And I don't know exactly how this works,
Right.
but she was supposed to go out and get the form. Can't the city give her a form?
The form has to be submitted by the business owner. We don't have the information.
So it's not like a 1099.
You know, the 1099 is.
I know what a
generated from the
1099.
You can go to the
Okay.
state, you can go to the state and get the form. We'll get the check right now. We'll
Make
get
it
the
go.
check.
Well, I know the kids really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, I think it's been a good one. I think we're adding a bouncy park to this school. Or-
Well, yeah, that's true, and it'll
So
just,
that'll
it'll just
be
be a
in the-
shame,
in
it'll
the
be a
update.
shame if Junk Park isn't here this year.
Yeah, we want them here.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think that's the issue at all. And
But I just wanted to clear up the issue why it's being here.
We should have a separate, agenda item we're talking about W.
If you're gonna do it to everyone, that's fine. But for now, it was just Junk Park.
Yep, I agree.
it was an opportunity and you took advantage of it.
Lynn, when you referred earlier, you said we get W-9s from everybody.
The
The
city
one-
gets,
So
I mean,
you've asked the
if I
bands
go,
for W-9s?
right, if we heard the band, I already got
Historically,
one
we
from the band, and
maybe haven't done that. So
Yeah.
it's not true, and I want this to be clear, it's not true that Mary has picked on one vendor to request a W-9.
Becky didn't get one?
I'm not saying everybody's.
Yeah, I
doing this,
know.
but
It's Junk Park.
Junk Park's not the only one. So you can't say they're being picked on. It's not
Oh, I can
true.
say
You
it
can
if I
say
want
anything you
to.
want, yes, but you can't make up your own facts. Nobody can make up their own facts. The facts of the matter is, Mary has requested W-9s from a number of different vendors we do business with. She hasn't gone through all the files yet, because that's a pretty enormous task, but when one comes up, boom, she looks for the information and she makes the request. So, we're not perfect.
Absolutely,
no-
I would agree.
I just, it disturbs me greatly when people make comments like that. It's just another attack on a city employee, and it's just not true and it's not fair. And
Tim,
I just want,
Well,
It
welcome to
upsets us
politics,
too.
Mr. Gross.
So-
Can I call the
But
question?
I'm not gonna-
Are we at the point where?
All right, we're gonna vote on
Thank you.
reapproving for the $5.99 discussions and done. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the amount of $5.99?
I'll make the motion to approve the amount of $5.99.
Do I have a second?
I think that
Second.
question, he is.
Just a second,
it's a
we're gonna
family
pass
member.
this right now.
It's a family member.
All those in favor, say. Aye.
Aye.
You can vote.
Who was first?
All opposed?
Who was the first and who was the second?
I was second.
We're moving on. We don't know what to talk about.
I'm gonna vote no, not because I don't wanna pay them, and not because I don't wanna have them here. I don't feel I got the opportunity to fully discuss my point. I think it is about as far as from transparency as you can get, which is a big word thrown about by some members of the council. And
Wow.
I've got about 2 minutes of commentary that I was not afforded to do.
Oh, well,
I'll
let's
have to
move on.
find another mechanism to.
Okay, we got 3-2, Mary, thank you. Next one, let's move on. Number 6, schedule time of day for July 11th, performance evaluation for clerk treasurer.
Tim, you need to say it. Yeah, you need to say it, or I can't stay here. Finish it.
Is this pertinent for what we need? Tim, do you feel like this is gonna help us get through the night?
Yes.
Honestly,
Well,
I could care less if we write a check for 600 or 599, I wanna move on. I can tell you the city hasn't done the W-9s at all. And so we dropped the ball. I mean, it is what it is.
I have done them
Okay. Just-
multiple times.
Obviously, we don't have a process that everybody's getting it, and we're gonna work on that.
Well, I would question, why are you reluctant to?
I'm asking,
do the W?
I'm asking if you,
I can read through, I'll
no
read
matter
through
what
it.
he, no matter what he has to do. it's-
If the
No,
council
go ahead. You
will-
go ahead, Tim.
will
I'm gonna put a hold on
entertain-
schedule time, I will let you talk.
Okay,
Please.
I'll make it quick. First, let me say, I do not know the owner of Junk Park, but from what I've read on their website, I certainly appreciate and support their efforts to let kids be kids. And that's my words, not theirs, but I think it's, pertains well. The credentials of the owner and the staff are equally as impressive. So at a previous council meeting, the council approved an expense for Wanigan Days in the amount of $600. It was unanimously approved. There were no abstentions, although Councilmember Anderson did disclose that the owner was his stepdaughter. As part of the due diligence process we expect our clerk treasurer to perform, a request for a W-9 was made. The entity was in the system from the previous year, but nothing was on file. As I understand, and what I stated earlier, similar requests have previously been made of other firms whose information was missing, and ongoing efforts are being made to make our files whole. So regarding the W-9s, everything I've read and what we got from our accounting firm, it's best practice to request W-9s from everybody, regardless of the dollar amount. I'm a big believer in best practice. So now we get to 1099. Amounts of $600 or greater require a 1099 be filed at the end of the calendar year for tax reporting purposes. So after the request for the W-9 was made, an email, which is included in the packet, from Jerry Annenson, who I understand to be the mother of Junk Park's owner, and please correct me if I'm mistaken in that, was sent to the mayor stating that the fee should be reduced to $599. So I just have a couple of points in that regard. I was not aware that Jerry Annenson was an agent for or employed by Junk Park. And the
She's
city is
not.
taking direction from her. So if that's not the case, I'm confused why the council's taking action on this item when they haven't been contacted directly by the owner of the firm to do so. Is that our standard operating procedure? To have someone who's not a business owner request the council take an action on a business that they're not part of? It seems extremely odd to me. If that's our SOP, I would suggest we change it as soon as possible. All of this is well documented. We approved $600. We got an email saying that we want to reduce it to $599. That would preclude the filing of a 1099, so I'd have to ask why. I'm not sure, I'm not even sure the owner's aware we're talking about this. We've not had contact with the owner. I'm not quite done. I think it's our duty as council members for this city, I certainly consider it mine, to ensure the city operates in an ethical way. And we should strive to avoid even the appearance or perception of impropriety. And the only reason that someone wouldn't want a 1099 that I can come up with is so they may not have to file taxes on it. There's no record of a payment. And I'm not accusing this business of doing that again. I don't think she knows this is even happening. We have not been able to contact her. She's not reached out to the city. So it's extremely strange, this conversation. And I use the word strange I'm trying to be nice here. And I don't wanna put any negative connotation to the business, because I think they do great work. They asked for $600, we should pay them $600. Who cares if a 1099 goes out? It just seems like we're playing party to some game, is what it sounds like. And we shouldn't be taking direction on a firm's interest, their direct interest, from a community member who has no, I hope, no tie to the business, because that was not disclosed. So it may seem like a small dollar amount, but it's the way we do business. What do we do when bigger issue comes up? Is this the way we're gonna treat cannabis people who are applying for licenses? Are we gonna do things under the table, or are we just gonna assume things from other community members without talking to them? I mean, this sets a tone for this whole council. And I feel bad for the firm. I feel bad that the Wanigan folks have had to deal with this. And it's just unnecessary. It's a waste of our time talking about it.
Yep.
And I still fail to understand what the difference is between 600 and 599, when 600 was what was approved.
The
I
difference
just
would
don't
be,
get it.
oh, I'm sorry. The difference would be $1.
I'd say in math.
I was told that the difference was that dollar. That's what I was told, that if it was $5.99, they didn't have to have that. That's what I was told. That, I don't know how it got on the agenda, that's foolishness. Because you people have such big issues before you. And you are sitting here talking about $1.
It's a lot more than that, Sandy. It's a lot more than $1.
No, it is.
Transparency.
It is, because you may have sent some W-9s out, I don't know, or asked for them. I don't know. But let me tell you, you haven't done it in ages. And the mayor is right. You need to revamp your system. But you don't do it on the back of one small little business. Stick to some of the things that are really facing this city.
I couldn't disagree, I couldn't agree more. There are way bigger things that we should spend.
Well, you just
time
took
on.
15, 20 minutes
It's on the
talking
agenda.
about this.
I'm just speaking facts and giving my opinion. This came to the council, it's on the agenda, we need to discuss it. And I'll stand by everything I said, it's of no burden to a business to supply W-9s. It shouldn't be any burden for them to receive a 1099. I mean, they're in business, I don't. get
Nobody's
what-
talking about 1099s, they may be just fine.
That should be.
Well,
Nobody's saying they won't file it.
$600 will trigger a 1099, and that's what it appears, this all is coming down to.
The
somebody doesn't want
dollar
a
difference
1099.
was my idea, mine, when I was told that made the difference. Don't talk about her, don't talk about Jerry, talk about me. If I made that mistake, then I made that mistake. But it doesn't deserve 20 minutes of discussion.
Well, I disagree, I think it does.
Okay,
So,
you're in charge.
I'm not in charge.
Are we supposed to be talking, or is it for the council to talk? I'm listening to the council.
He called on me.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then go up to the sheriff, you know, you're wasting my time.
I guess what we should be considerate of is Junk Park and the owner, and decisions were made on their behalf without their knowledge.
I have a hunch they probably will not come, so, thank you very much.
That would be unfortunate. That would
Yeah, it
be-
really would.
That's it. Thank you, Brandon, for
Yep.
letting me talk.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to number 6, the scheduling of the time of day on July 11th for performance evaluation of clerk treasurer Mary Tomlins. That's under old business.
Well, I can't make it tomorrow, if that's what you're looking for.
I won't be here either.
No,
There was no
we were
time
gonna have to,
set, so.
yeah, there was no time set, so we were just gonna reschedule or whatever.
I guess I would like to make a motion that we postpone the performance eval until after our closing, meeting on Thursday. And then we can decide what we wanna do with that.
Okay, I did some research on this topic, if you'd like, because, when it came to council last meeting for, and if we need to make a motion to
Any
open
second.
discussion, I'll second it. So we can have
So
some.
we have a motion, I motion Mary to postpone until after our private meeting on, our closed meeting on Thursday, the 13th. Tim seconded.
I'll second.
We got 2 seconds.
We got a second.
So do we have a date then, or are we just going after July 13th?
I think it's open discussion now. My personal opinion is that we wait and we discuss a date, this Thursday on the 13th if needed.
But I won't be at that meeting. So, that's just the way it goes.
I guess I wasn't at the meeting that you guys put this on to, so I didn't have a say.
So it's just the way it goes. Okay.
Sorry.
Well-
All I did was bring it up that her year was coming up and have her annual, review.
Yeah, so I did some research, if the mayor would,
Yeah,
again,
we're discussing.
take
Yep.
my comments. So I am one of the, personnel liaisons along with Larry. So I try to make it a point to learn the policy manual that we have, although.
Excuse me, Tim, just real quick, I'm sorry, but if you were one of the personnel liaisons and you worked to study the policy manual, you would understand that you oversee the Public Works Department. Is that correct? Have you seen the organizational chart?
Yeah, I'm a personnel liaison and a public works liaison.
You're a personnel liaison over the Public Works Department.
No.
The administrative
What
liaison.
question is on the table right
Go
now,
ahead.
gentlemen, is to postpone this meeting until Thursday to discuss when we're going to do the performance eval. It's not saying that we're not going to do it, it's saying that let's choose a date that works best for everybody. Unfortunately, Troy, if you wanna give us some dates that work in the next few weeks for us, we can put those in discussion on, so if you wanna send an email to Lee or myself,
Okay, sounds good.
or Mary, probably send it to Mary so that we're not violating any open meeting laws. It's not on discussion to get rid of the evaluation.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think the points I wanna make here will help benefit the scheduling of
Okay,
the
please.
performance review. So as stated, this, item was, added to the agenda at the last council meeting. Members Hanson and Samuelson voted in favor of, scheduling the meeting, for tomorrow without a time. And I've stated before, and I thought we had agreement on, the agenda should only be amended if there's an urgent matter that is time sensitive. Example, it can't wait until the following meeting, or if there's a high likelihood that the city could suffer harm, not add to the bond. Neither of these two, conditions were in play here with this, agenda item. Adding it to the agenda the night of the meeting did not allow for the necessary information to be gathered for proper review and discussion, as might be expected, and, the information that was used was incorrect. After thoroughly reviewing the personnel policy manual and information pertinent to the matter, I offer the following. Mary Tomnitz held the role of clerk treasurer in the years including 2015 through 2018, and she left on good terms for a full-time job with benefits. On or about April 9th of 2022, Ms. Tomnitz returned to work for the city as a part-time temporary employee. In a letter from the city dated July 30th, 2022, the city outlined an employment agreement moving Ms. Tomnitz from part-time temporary to full-time permanent, effective July 30th, 2022. It also included provisions for an wage increase if her performance was deemed satisfactory which it was, on or about December 1, 2022. According to the Personnel Policy Manual, when a candidate is already an employee of the city, an appointment will be considered a promotional appointment. A promotional appointment is subject to a 6-month probationary period. According to the Personnel Policy Manual, performance evaluations will normally, and I quote normally, bold, italicized normally, occur twice during a probation period and annually thereafter. Ms. Tomnitz had a performance review sometime in early December, I don't have the exact date, which fulfilled the employment agreement for the wage increase and in effect ended her probationary period. I do not have record of a previous review, so I have to assume that she was offered the full-time job based on performance during her temporary period of employment with the city. After having reviewed the Personnel Policy Manual and relative documents, it is my opinion that Ms. Tomnitz's next scheduled review should take place on or around December 1st, 2023. I want to throw out a qualification. There are other provisions within the Personnel Policy Manual that I was unable to verify or confirm, but again, in my opinion, they would not have had any consequential or material bearing on the matter of Ms. Tomnitz's performance evaluation schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Larry, would you like to add anything?
No, I think Tim covered it pretty fully. Mary, did work full-time for us early on, and then she called when we needed help, and, stepped right up, and, did a great service to the city by, starting to reorganize the office and get everything back in order. I don't see the need for performance evaluation at this point.
Lee?
I believe that what Tim gone through there is very accurate, but there is also provisions in there saying that you can have an eval anytime. And, I'm still going by annual from when she was signed on full time.
So just to that point, Lee, I'm gonna turn to Fritz, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he said in the past, in effect, the council can pretty much do whatever they want, policy or no policy.
I don't think it's said quite.
Not exactly, but there's some latitude, right?
Yeah, when it comes to evaluating employees,
So the council could decide to hold Mary's review prior to December 1st of 2023. I just need to remind everybody of what occurred towards the tail end of 2022. The mayor and the previous council, at least 4 of the members, were vilified horribly for not following protocol, which wasn't accurate at the time, but there were people who sat up at this podium and said horrible things about the council members for not following policy. And now, this seems like this council is gonna do the same thing. So evidently, 2 wrongs make a right. That's the way it appears to me.
You gotta
So,
look at that employee handbook again.
well,
Plus, the previous council did not follow, because 6 months was in the middle of January, so.
so we are taking action against our current clerk treasurer for
No.
actions the previous council committed.
We're not
I mean, that's
taking
kind of what I
action.
said.
No.
Mr. Mayor, yes, 4 things get said that shouldn't be said, in terms of what would happen in the evaluation performance. This is not, an evaluation performance is not an action taken against the employee. And I think it's, very important, especially as tempers seem to be rising, that be emphasized. that any evaluation being undertaken on any employee by the city council is not an action against the employee. The council can take action against the employee based on an evaluation later or not, if it chooses to do so, or obviously deliver a favorable evaluation. But merely scheduling or having an evaluation is not an action taken against an employee. I don't want it to be inferred that even if the council is considering doing an evaluation, it seems an awful lot like a tempest in a teapot that you're fighting over a date. I mean, that could really occur at almost any date, frankly. But I do think it would be well advised, given the fact that there will be some discussion apparently on Thursday, which has been talked about, and there'll be a closed meeting involving certain matters related to the same employee, that you'd be well advised to at least defer the evaluation until after that.
And then, thank you, Fritz. I did not mean to, any intent that it was an action. My main point was to get the facts out. Again, we should be dealing with facts. And from just a special meeting notice perspective, I believe the requirement is posted at least 3 days, time and place. So, if we're meeting Thursday, the review could not happen until that. Are those business days, or are they, that's one thing I didn't know.
Well, actually, they're. How far do you wanna get into that? You know, I would say business days. If you're just talking about this week, that 3 days was Thursday.
So if we meet Thursday morning, it gets posted Friday morning, the earliest could be Tuesday morning?
If you were to wanna do that at a meeting, yes, I think that sounds right.
Okay.
And if I can.
Yeah, yep,
I
Aaron.
don't think I said too much on this issue. The purpose, in my opinion, the purpose of an evaluation is to improve the public services given to the citizens of Taylor's Falls. Those are the people who are paying the salaries for the employees here. This isn't about an individual employee, this is not about vendettas. It's about improving the services and making sure the people of Taylor's Falls are getting the services that they're paying for. It's that simple. It's just public service. Don't take this personally. Nobody should be taking this personally. This is about improving our public service. It's really that simple.
Thank you. All right.
And I'd like to, again, thank Fritz for biting my tongue for
So we got a motion and a
That's what
second
that was.
on the table right now to delay the July 11th date. Obviously, we're not able to do that because it's not posted in time anyway, but to make a final date this Thursday.
So we will, the special meeting notice will include
Discussion on.
discussion on, so 2 agenda topics.
Yep.
That day, okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Can I change that to consideration of an actual date? You're gonna actually choose a date on Thursday,
Sure.
right? Is that what
That's-
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
So what was that correction?
The second agenda item for Thursday's meeting, date can, instead of considering a day, we're gonna choose a date.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's move on, move to not choose the day we need to vote, so all those in favor of moving that to the 13th, to schedule the date and time for the performance eval, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. On to new business. Number 1, email from Nancy Hoffman.
Nancy, would you like to know? Nancy Hoffman is the chairperson, for Chisago County HREDA.
I'm the executive director.
Executive Director. And she is here to help in our discussion regarding the commercial property downtown, and all that is concerned with moving forward as commercial property, or as it's on the table, voting on turning it into a public green space.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I had heard from a few people that you were looking at changing the use of that property, and I just wanted to make sure you understood the funding that we have with the city. Just if you had any questions of it, I wanted to be here so that we make sure, as you move into this decision, that you understand the funding. Originally, we had $195,000 in loans to the city, and that's been paid down over the years, pretty much just at $5,000 a year at 1% interest. Our whole thought was if we could just get that property sold, that could pay down the loan and it would be satisfied. We've had some bites on it, but, you know, not as many as we'd like, and I'm sad to see that that hotel didn't work, because I think that would be a huge asset for Taylor's Falls. We're currently sitting at $140,000 remaining as a balance, and in 2026, that comes due at $125,000. We work off of statute 469, and it guides us through the HRA and the EDA on what we can and cannot do. And just a couple of years ago, we were, another city had requested funds for a park, and we cannot fund parks. So when that comes due, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this $5,000 a year, we would have to call that home. I just wanna make sure you understood that, because our goals are to create jobs and to create tax base. We cannot do parks. So I just wanted you to be clear on that, and so, that's why the email was sent.
Can I ask one clarifying question? You said it's a 1% interest? I thought it was
No, 0%, did I say one, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We keep them low, especially with the city, with 0%, can't be better than that.
No.
Is this called right away and we make a decision, or is it 2026 no matter what decision?
You know, I had just remembered that today, that this other city wanted to use funds for a park. So I would want to contact our attorney and see what they would say. If the use changes, does that matter, or can we wait till 2026?
So you don't know if we pulled it off the market, that we could, it's still due in 2026. At this point, just because we pull it off the market, that doesn't mean anything other than the balance will be due in 2026.
Yeah, I would want to check with our attorney to see if that would matter.
Could you do that?
I would do that,
appreciate
yes.
it. And let us know.
Sure.
Plus, while it's still on the market, the HRA EDA will continue to market it to, prospective developers.
Correct, yes, we have it listed on MNCAR, which is the Minnesota Commercial Association of Realtors, so we're trying to get that out to realtors. We also do, real estate journal events, trying to get that out to realtors again, and we always bring all the information of the 7 industrial parks, the business parks, and the redevelopment sites in the county. We market other ways too, we have it up on our website, if you look on there, you'll find it. You have to change the picture when we have pending on there, ended up putting the wrong picture up, but,
Yeah.
you know, we do try to market it.
But we've never listed it with an AP, correct?
Not on, the city has
No,
no.
not that I'm aware of.
But you have been marketing it for the past 12 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been here 10, so.
Right, right.
Well, any action to take it off the market will eliminate the possibility of ever generating revenue for the city. And we would be on the hook to pay back the loan, which, in my opinion, would be an unnecessary and ill-advised burden on the community and its taxpayers. Any way we can have development to move the city forward and create additional revenue to ease the tax base here on our residents, I think is something that we should continue to pursue.
Well, and it's not just the city, it's the county and the school district as well. I just did a little takeoff of a business in downtown, and I just pulled one that, it's a valuation of, taxable valuation of about $500,000. And over the course of 10 years, the city would miss out on about $35,000 in tax revenue, and I didn't inflation adjust this at all, this is just today's dollars. The county would, lose over could lose over $36,000, and the school district over 10. And I didn't even include with the school district the special levy, which is another 8,000 or something like that over the 10 years. So there's obviously no certainty that the property will ever sell, but if we take it off the market, it will definitely never sell. We've had interest, we've had some bites, we've now hopefully got some interest in our business park. I think, economic things have changed with, we've had a number of businesses who wanna come into town. And that being one of the, one and only prime pieces of real estate we have in our business, it just seems unwise to pull it off the market at this point, when it's not costing us any money to keep it at least until through 2025.
Can I ask you, Councilmember Grote, when you say us, who do you mean?
Troy, you pulled this last time.
Well, actually, no,
I'm a
I'm not.
representative of the city of Taylor's
Right,
Falls.
but
and
whose
that's
debt
who I
is it?
represent.
Whose debt is it?
The city of Taylor's Falls and its residents.
The residents' debt, and they've had it for 12 years.
It doesn't go away, and it's not costing us any money to keep.
No, but you are indebting the taxpayers for the past 12 years, and nothing's been done on it. Nothing's been done. They essentially, it's theirs, it's their debt.
It's the
And nothing's
city's
been done on
property that we have a loan agreement on that either at the end of 2025 or when we sell the property, we have a balloon payment, correct?
Correct.
That doesn't change regardless of what the use is. If we turn it into a park, take it off the market, no future tax revenue.
Right.
In fact, we have to spend money to improve it.
But there's no balloon payment.
Yep. What are
Now,
you
if we
talking
take it off
about?
the market,
There is a
Oh,
balloon
wait,
payment in
sell it.
2025.
in 2026.
2026,
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
Suppose, just remember that, we're gonna find out for sure,
Well-
because if we take it off the market today, and all of a sudden we have to come up with what's owed.
That's a potential. The other thing you stated is you're fairly unsure that if we could renew this loan again, if we pull it off. Well, we can't use it for a park, so you couldn't
We couldn't
renew it.
renew it.
Okay, so that's a fact today.
Right.
There's no way we could renew this loan if we pull it off.
Correct.
Right.
Because that was not a known
Right.
certainty last time. Okay.
Yeah, if you, I'm sorry, are you done, Tim?
I think I am.
Okay. Nancy, thank you for coming out today. I'm just curious, it looks like I have your response to Councilmember Julick Hines' email to you, but I don't have Councilmember Julick Hines' email to you. It looks like he emailed, you got back to him on July 5th, so he must have contacted you July 4th or something?
No.
Or the month of
We
July?
had a phone
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you called?
So I emailed
Okay.
him afterwards. yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Are you familiar with the purchase agreement, the extension to 2026? You must be. March 27, 2018 is when the $175,000 was moved out to 2026, the due date.
Yeah, we extended the loan, otherwise it would have come due at that time, but we wanted to keep working with the city. And 5,000 is reasonable and easy to do, 100 or 150, whatever it would have been at that time.
Okay.
Would be difficult.
And I know we have a contract with that. I guess that would be your signature and the city's signatures, just like all the other
Yeah,
mortgages.
we have a mortgage.
I don't know if these, I got a timeline of the mortgages, you know,
Sure.
with applications and everything and the amendments. My concern with this 2020 extension, all the other mortgage agreements through the past 10 years or more have been, voted on by this council and approved. They've been agenda items, they've been voted on, and the vote has been recorded. I don't have that for the 2020 extension to 2026. I have no minutes, I have no agenda item, I have no recorded vote, I have no resolution. So I guess I'm kind of curious, how is that done? I know Councilmember Grote and Councilmember Julick talked about transparency and not operating in a vacuum. I guess I'm kind of concerned about this final extension. If it was really passed transparently, or how it was signed. Do you know, do you have any information on that?
You know, I know the HRA, EDA approved it at a board meeting.
Okay.
I don't know for sure what the city did at that time.
Right, but you don't have no idea if it came throughout this building or through City Hall or anything like that. That's just one of the concerns I have about it, because I know we've been talking about transparency and being ethical, and missing information, and that's one of the concerns I have about that extension. I haven't been able to find anything on that at all. It should be at the city hall, right? And we should have them here. Okay, thank you again for coming in. I have no more
Sure.
questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you, Ben.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So regarding changing, I guess, the River Street, or, not River Street, sorry, the business property downtown, I think we really should wait to make a decision until making sure that that doesn't come due immediately. If we decide to make a park, I would hate to all of a sudden put the city on the hook to pay up what we owe, $140. So if we can get that information from our attorney.
When can we hear back from you on that?
There you go.
I can check tomorrow,
Okay.
whether he's in or not.
Yeah, just send an
I'll
email.
ASAP.
Okay, thank you.
This, the council fine to get more information.
I don't want to make a vote on anything today if we don't have all.
Right, I just wonder what the urgency is to turn it into a public, public space, when we have, beautiful park at one end of Main Street, and we have another beautiful park at the north end of Main Street. I don't see the need to turn it into a public space, because parks all over the city. I think that's a ill-advised, addition to our city business.
Mr. Mayor, I just have a procedural question, I guess. Given a decision like this, it seems to me that whatever pertinent commissions that we have, we want recommendations from them. So we have economic development, which I think is pertinent because that could potentially be an engine to drive tax revenues. Planning, certainly, I honestly don't know if it fits within the comprehensive plan, or if, planning would approve or recommend approving of this or not. And Parks and Rec, has anybody talked to Parks and Rec about this? Has it come through them? Would they recommend turning this into a park? So I think I would like to see those three commissions review and make a recommendation to the council before we take a vote on it. Especially with real estate, I think it's really important. But I think when we have these commissions, that's what they're there for. They're to give us recommendations. They do the vetting. We can decide what we want, but they make a formal recommendation. And that's what I would propose. And if we want to make a decision on this, have a vote on this, the sooner it gets in their hands, the better. So if we do want to at least entertain the possibility of this, those three groups should weigh in on it.
I have one quick question. Councilmember Tuakine, I actually don't remember. I know it was somewhere over $20,000. But what did we pay to seed and that lot and put grass seed down? Was it $22,000 or $26,000?
The commercial property, the $20,000 was not just for seeding, it was for soil testing, and it was to improve the property to make it more conducive to building land, because there was a wetland back there that had to be taken care of, and surveying, soil borings, and all that goes with, upgrading the property to make it construction ready, so it wasn't just for seeding.
And whose money was that, Councilmember Tuakine?
It was a loan, and it was paid off,
$22,000 loan?
$20,000.
Oh, $20,000. Who did we get that from?
Friends of the
HRA?
council.
Oh, you want that? Okay. We paid that one off right away. Or was it rolled into the other?
We paid it off in installments of $5,000 over 4 years.
Oh, yes, right, yeah, it was one of the other agreements that rolled in. Because we do have a total of $195,000 taken out on the property. Yeah, we're down to 145,
Paying it off.
140.
And Troy, it's an investment in the future of the city.
Just asking questions. Yeah,
Well,
that future has been about 12 years long
I
so
think
far.
you should be a little more transparent in your questions.
Well, I think, I control two of those commissions, so I'll get them to meet as quickly as possible. As far as Parks and Recs, Larry, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but we haven't met yet, so I haven't heard anybody
I
yet.
can't get a crew together because they see what's going on at City Hall and nobody wants to get involved. So, I've tried to put a crew together, and as soon as I do, we'll meet.
So, let me know.
How many members do you need?
We need 5.
Okay. Everybody?
EDC could use some people too, and I've been working on it. Cause right now we have 3. so it'd be nice to get to know.
Can I call the question, whatever that is? Are we going to,
I think right now.
postpone it till,
till we
the
get
next
the-
month?
Well,
The
till we
next
get
month's meeting?
information.
Sure.
And then, we'll work on trying to get permission soon on top of that, but right now we're waiting for Nancy to get us information for it. All right, so that's on the table, all in favor of, postponing anything done until we get the information from Nancy Hoffman's attorney, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Wanigan Days is up, Lynn.
Okay, well, I gotta see Buck, because I was just in for another ablation today, so I'm a little slow. So I gotta go out and see Buck.
Free samples.
The free sample, good. All right, well, I'll just give a little update where we're at. Our fundraising has been good. We got everything pretty much covered for the year. Yeah, I'll just kind of go over the events. Friday, when we start out, we have car show up here. I think it starts at 5 o'clock. We have Lions Club Cash Bingo down at the community center. And then we have, down in the, we call it the big stage downtown, we have Austin Healy playing. That's pretty much what covers, Friday night. But Saturday morning, it's not started early, you know, we're gonna start out with, lumberjack breakfast at the community center. And then we hopefully have Kids Park down there, and I wanna use the terminology of Wanigan Park next to the drive-in. I know it's not a public park, but we use that area for Jump Park, and it works out really good. It starts out there. When we have Dunk Tank, starts at 11 downtown. And the Lions Club has food down there with sweet corn and hot dogs. And then we have Joe's Eats, starts about 5 o'clock for the parade. And then right before the parade, we're gonna have a kiddie parade. So hopefully we'll get a few contestants down there, and we're gonna line them up at 5:45 in front of Saga House. We'll close down the road about 6 o'clock and get the kids down to the Catholic Church before the Grand Day Parade comes across. And after that, then we've got band with Show Me Your Hits down there at the big stage. You guys have to remind me if I miss anything. What'd I miss?
Dunk tank?
I said dunk tank.
Did you? Can I make one comment
Yeah.
about the dunk tank? So we've got dunk tank starting at 11. We have, one of our Lion member friends who's gonna do it from 11 to 12. We have Senator Coran coming in at noon till 1:30. We have the Lady of the Village in from 2 to 3. And, we have the sheriff in from 4 to 5. And then one of our Lions, a big seller, from 5 to 6, then we shut it down for the parade. So, we are looking for some additional dunk tank participants, council members. You did, Troy has done his time in the past as well. Brandon's done his time, but not as mayor. Brandon has not done it as a mayor. So I would invite, any council member, including the mayor, to just let me know if they're willing to participate. 30 minutes would probably do it, because we don't have a whole lot of time to fill. I let it slip that I'm going to do it, and all my kids are gonna be there, and they're gonna, pay and dump me however they can, so, we could certainly use a couple more members.
I will tell you this, the last time I did it, my wife was out in the street selling tickets.
It's all for a good cause.
It's all for a good cause.
Reinvest in the community, so. So just, I would say, let Lynn know, let myself know if you're willing and able to participate, in those timeframes. So it'd be from 3 to 4 and from, say, 1 to 2. So, thank you. Lynn, sorry for.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, I would've forgot that. And then Sunday morning, we have, Bloodies and Bags down there in front of the main stage there. Excuse me, and then we have croquet tournament at 1 o'clock up at the, Folsom House, we're gonna have it up there this year. Am I missing anything, Sandra?
Nope, you got them all.
Did we get them all? So, feel free, everybody, come down, both around town. Enjoy the weekend. So, it's a long weekend for a few of us, but we'll make it through. It's, I'm hoping that John Park will be there, I'm planning on them being there on Friday morning.
Wanigan Days is always a great holiday festivity for the city, because it brings everybody together to celebrate what we think is great about our city, and that is a community, friendship, the beautiful River Valley, and our heritage and our history.
I agree.
So, I'd just like to thank the committee members. Sandra, you're one, I know Linda's one, Tim Lauer, who am I missing?
That's about it.
About it?
Yeah, and Lions Club members, Lions Club members are helping out a lot this year. Leland
Absolutely.
Peltier is helping out, he's helping, and so I'll be down here at 6 o'clock each morning and setting things up.
I want to welcome you back to the payroll. I see you're working for us again.
No, just briefly,
Oh,
I just came in and helped Elizabeth get started,
oh, okay. that's
So it was
so
only
the
for-
capacity.
8 hours, and I'm done.
Oh, you're done again.
Yeah, I hope so,
Okay.
but never my intention.
How do you do, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Any information is good information.
We went out on a 3-hour tour. They thought it was a skipper, you know? They were gonna send out a search party for us, but I brought her out to each corner of town, you know, and showed her the different districts and the parks and what's entailed. And oh, we had great conversations both days, and then the second day, then we had to deal with the city sewer problems, so. But we dealt with that. But anyhow, no, she's on good footing. I think she's doing a great job. She still calls me or asks me questions, and I just help her out the best I can.
Thank you, Clerk.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. You betcha.
We're patiently waiting, 625 River Street, the CUP. Elizabeth, if you want to give us an update, that'd be great.
Right, I'm Elizabeth House, I'm the new zoning administrator. We're gonna go through this CUP drafted by Harry Davis. Can you hear me okay?
No. Pen right there, you gotta
Okay.
get rid of those. Start again, please.
Yep, so I'm Elizabeth Haas, I'm the new zoning administrator and city coordinator. I'd be happy to give a full update at the next city council meeting, but for now, I'm just going to cover the CUP for Harry Davis. He drafted this, he's from Bolton, I think. So, this is a conditional use permit request at 625 River Street to operate a short-term rental. The applicant is Brittany Lundeen. The property is two lot between Hazel Alley and River Street, address 625 River Street, PID 20.00097.00. I guess I summarized this a little soon, I'm just gonna run through this. The request by the applicant is for a CUP to operate a short-term rental at 625 River Street. The applicant is aware that in addition to getting city approval, they must obtain approval from the Chisago County for their licensing ordinance. Some background. The subject property is located between Hazel Alley and River Street, north of Pine Street and west of the St. Croix River. The property is zoned St. Croix River 1. The 0.34 acre lot has an existing 3-bedroom single-family home. The property is adjacent to other residential lots. Do I need to slow down? Okay, I'm just cruising. There was no public comment received for this report. Notification, all property owners within 350 feet of this property were notified a minimum of 10 days prior to the public hearing and published in the paper on June 15th, 2023, that a public hearing would be held on June 27th, 2023, per state statute, Charlotte ordinance requirements, and notice was sent to the DNR. All right. The applicable zoning requirements and the findings of fact. Referring to section 1000.008, under conditional uses, there are some general requirements. So I'm just gonna run through those. So this is just how, I'm just gonna say how they meet these requirements. The proposed CUP is consistent with the comprehensive plan and development policies of the city. B, the use will not create an excessive demand on existing parks, schools, streets, and other public facilities and utilities which serve or are proposed to serve the area. The use will be sufficiently compatible or separate by distance or screening from the adjacent development or land so that existing development will not be depreciated in value and there will not be returns to development of that vacant lot. The structure and site shall have an appearance that will not have an adverse effect upon adjacent properties. The use, in the opinion of the city, is reasonably related to the overall needs of the city and to the existing land use. The use is consistent with the purposes of the zoning ordinance and the purpose of the zoning district in which the applicant intends to locate the proposed use. And the use will not cause a traffic hazard or congestion. Going through the conditional use permit review specific requirements. No new structures are included at this time. There are adjacent residential structures, so the city council could require screening. However, as long as the property remains residential in appearance, staff does not recommend additional screening. The applicant is aware that they need to obtain a permit from Chisago County. The applicant will seek to obtain any other permits needed for operation. There's no signage proposed at this time. If there is, they will comply with section 2000.018. The site has 3 off-street parking spaces available that will satisfy parking requirements, consistent with the above. Again, staff does not recommend any additional screening for that requirement. The existing road system and condition is adequate to facilitate traffic that is largely consistent with the traditional residential use. All current driveways and accesses are surfaced and controlled dust. The driveway is off Hazel Alley and leads to a garage on the property. No changes to the outside are proposed. Existing lighting is adequate and residential in nature. No changes are expected to the lighting. The site is not being impacted in a way that necessitates change to drainage. No changes are proposed. And the use and character of the property will remain very close to its current use as a residential property. No compatibility issues are expected. Pertaining to the section 2000.020 bed and breakfast and short-term rentals, there's a few requirements there, and this is how we meet them. The use will provide, I'll back up here. So the regulation is, the establishment provides a needed service to the public and is defined as an owner-occupied dwelling having no more than 4 guest rooms for short-term lodging, 28 days or less, and where meals are or are not provided for guests for compensation. So in this case, the use will provide a needed service to the public. The applicant has stated that they will not occupy the dwelling, and staff recommends that this requirement not be a condition of the approval. The applicant has stated that they will remain nearby within Taylor's Falls in order to address any urgent issues. Staff does not recall any recent short-term rental CUPs making this requirement clear, or any recent CUP applicants clearly stating that their rentals will be owner-occupied. Short-term rentals largely remain residential in nature and operation, and the lack of an owner on site at all times is not expected to be a problem. Staff recommends the city consider reviewing this requirement in the future zoning code update. Staff can consider other alternatives for the city council recommendation upon request. A conditional use permit is required for the establishment of a bed and breakfast in or short-term rental property. In this case, the applicant is proposing a use that is allowed through a CUP in the St. Clair River 1 district. The following requirements apply. Any restoration or addition to a structure in use shall be done without damaging or destroying materials, features, or finishes that are important in defining the building's character or original use. And in this case, no changes to the structure are proposed as stated. Number 2, a maximum of 4 guest rooms may be established in the structure. The applicant has indicated the number of guest rooms is 3. Number 3, at least 2 off-street parking spaces shall be provided on site for the owner and manager, and 1 parking space for each guest unit. Adequate parking is provided on site. 1 identification sign of not more than 4 square feet in the area is allowed on the premises. No signage is proposed by the applicant, but this will be a condition of the approval. Number 5, the dining facilities shall be exclusively for guests and shall not be open to the general public. The applicant is not proposing dining facilities and services, but this will be a condition of the approval. The Taylor's Falls Planning Commission reviewed the conditional use permit for request for short-term rental at 625 River Street on June 27th, 2023, and unanimously recommended the approval subject to conditions with an added condition as stated below in number 3. So the recommendation, staff recommends the city council approve the conditional use permit to the city council using the findings of fact in the staff report with the following conditions. 1, the applicant will adhere to the applicable requirements for the conditional use permits found in section 1000.008 in the zoning ordinance. 2, the applicant will adhere to the applicable requirements for short-term rental found in section 2000.020 in the zoning ordinance, with the exception of the conditional use permit will not require the owner to occupy the dwelling to operate a short-term rental. And number 3, the applicant shall provide contact information to anyone within 350 feet of the property and have a representative or themselves be within a half an hour of the property who could respond to the complaints should any complaints arise. That's all I have.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. Do we have any questions for Elizabeth? I know, thanks for taking that out for me. I couldn't be at that one. I double booked myself at the meeting, so.
Well, yeah, it was good.
I have a couple questions. The owner occupancy requirement is waived. Do you know how many we've waived in the past couple months?
I do not.
Okay, I think we're at like 3 or 4, we got a good string going in. Now, was that Harry that mentioned that we revisit that actual code requirement?
Yes.
So he did it again, at the night of the commission meeting, because he's done it before.
Recommend that we waive that requirement?
Recommend that we revisit it, revise it, look at it.
Yes, because it's kind of inconsistent with what the conditional use says. So basically, currently in the ordinance, under the conditional use section, short-term rental section, it says that that is a requirement, that the owner be there.
Right.
But it's my understanding that that's been waived. I'm a little fuzzy, I just started.
Yeah, I know you did. And I think we've just, I'll be done in just a minute.
I'm just gonna go for it.
I think we pretty much ignored it, basically, for quite a while, so. The owners you said will live close, how close, do we know about?
I'd like to have her clarify that,
Okay.
when she comes, is she here?
I'm right here.
Oh,
Okay.
good, thank you.
Yeah, then I'll go ahead and have her clarify that. She did, there is like a letter attached in here, but I think you guys, had me read enough.
Oh, yes,
I can find-
yeah.
I can find it.
Okay, no, that's all right.
So, I was just going to be more thorough than, 2 bags.
No.
Let me know if that was painful. We can, summarize it up. I thought we could use some dry content though.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
I apologize, Councilmember Grove, please.
I just, your question about, gosh, I even forget what the question was now.
How many we've waived?
Thank you. The commission did talk about that, and it is on their agenda to revise that ordinance and update it, make a recommendation to the city. So that's one of their, I don't know, top just have to say, I attended the meeting, and one thing I was impressed by is, the applicant had two of their neighbors actually come and support the short-term rental of this residence, so I think that says a lot.
Thank you. Brittany, would you like to speak, or you good?
If you have questions, but.
Council,
Was on your
any questions?
Well, I think we agreed 30-minute response time, right? And if you're not around, you'd have somebody there.
Yeah, I'll be in Centuria, so 20, if that.
Can I hop in?
Yeah.
I know. Brittany, just so, I don't know if anybody's informed you of this, so it doesn't take you off guard. I read in the ordinance that the conditional use permits are supposed to be recorded at the recorder's office, and that's a $46 recording fee.
Oh,
So we'll be.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing
Thank you.
major, it's just, after reading through the ordinance, you know, picking up these processes that we are supposed to be doing to be consistent with everybody. That's just something, you know, that has to be recorded, and so the applicants always cover those costs.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay, just didn't want that to be a surprise.
Further questions, council?
No.
All right. Good. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the CUP short-term rental for 625 River Street.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Tim seconded. Any further discussion? I think we're good. So all those in favor of approving the CUP for 625 River Street, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next up is, number 3 would be, well, number 4 actually, I guess, jail bed and breakfast dispensary. Thanks for joining us.
Sneaky chair.
Good evening. My name is Taylor Long, and this is my husband Larry Long. We own 2 buildings in town. We own the 1870 Scott Miller building, and we own the 1884 jailhouse. Those are currently being run under the old jail bed and breakfast, so we're really excited to be here to share our vision with you moving forward. 150 years ago, back in 1870, when Taylor's Falls was a logging town, a saloon was built onto a cave dug into the bottom of the other. Shortly after, a jailhouse was built right next to the saloon, go figure. The cave wasn't open that long, and the jailhouse didn't end up running for that long either. And over the last 150 years, these properties have managed to stay alive by evolving the revenue source. I'm not sure how much of this is known currently in town, because these buildings are so much older than anyone in this room. But our buildings have been a butcher shop, a general store, a shoe repair shop, a sled dog equipment shop, an ice shop, a barber shop, a bakery, a furniture store, an undertaking parlor, a clothing store, a jewelry store, a plumbing and heating store, a spa, a bookstore, and then was finally simply used by the city for storage. 40-some years ago, historian Helen White spent her retirement saving these buildings by turning them into a profitable business, the bed and breakfast. This was actually Minnesota's first licensed bed and breakfast, fun fact. We've had the privilege of carrying on her work with these buildings, and we are seeking to preserve them. We we're members of this community, we've fallen in love with this town, we're raising our children here, and we're in love with the history of Taylor's Falls because it is rich. When Helen White started bed and breakfast, there was no Airbnb, there was no short-term rentals in an actual company like that. Bed and breakfasts are one of many businesses in the country that does not have a market anymore. That is just the fact of that. But we want to keep our buildings alive by evolving the revenue source, which is historically what has always been done on our property. We want to develop our little corner of Taylor's Falls and evolve our business to the next chapters. We are going to bring new businesses into town by utilizing these buildings in our complex to their full potential. We would be adding a cafe, dispensary, and we are also in the early stages of discussing what we would like to do with the jailhouse. We foresee a lot of advantages to the city, the county, and our community. Our vision is going to create employment. We are estimating that we would create employment for about 20 people, so that's 20 new jobs in town. As well as training them professionally in shift our business from strictly serving a couple tourists a week to opening it back up to the locals, which is what it was when it was built 150 years ago. It's a tavern people could go in, share their time with the community, congregate, and that's what we're looking to bring back. We are seeking to work closely with the city and the state. As it's been said many times to me, the legislation is still being developed on this. There is so much unknown about this. This is new territory for Minnesota. There's a lot of discussions that are going to need to be had at every level, and there's a lot to learn. And the best thing we can possibly do at this point is educate ourselves. We want to have a mutually beneficial relationship with the city, with the county. We'd really like to work with local law enforcement. One of the state requirements for our application is a security plan. We would like to work with our security to work with, the sheriff's office in any way that we can provide assistance, whether that's putting cameras on our buildings, whatever can be most beneficial, we wanna be helpful with that. But most importantly, we want a good relationship with the community. There are so many questions out there. There's a lot of misconceptions out there. So we wanna provide as much education as we can, either about the laws, the ordinances, our proposed business, or even just the stigma about cannabis, which have been addressed a couple times tonight. One thing we would like to do in the very near future is hold a Q&A session for the community with our team. We wanna hear the people's concerns, so that we can work together to come up with solutions as this is all being written. We wanna provide education where we can, but we also wanna learn alongside everyone as this is being developed. This industry here in Taylor's Falls is going to need to address it. We're thankful to hear you guys are taking this very slowly and seriously, because this is big. This is our community, and we take a lot of pride in it, and we wanna see it thrive while preserving the history of our buildings. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think three of the biggest points that we have is that we are, one, we're local. We live here, we live in the buildings, we've lived on the property for 4 years now. We love the history of the town, the beauty of the town, it's amazing. It's a great town. The town needs something, it needs a spark. I mean, this whole Highway 8 corridor could be better. And everybody knows it, and we want more business revenue here. And I think by adding the businesses and reimagining it, like, we could redevelop this corner, it could be, I mean, it already is a landmark. But we could brighten that up and add some fun to it. And, you know, a new cafe in town would be, I mean, you guys know how it is around here, when new businesses pop up like that, especially restaurants, it's a huge deal here. So you're creating some, you know, a spark up here, and maybe that creates a little more, as we start to develop things a little more and reimagine things a little bit. And you know, the biggest thing is we're local. We live here, we have our kids here, we're not going anywhere. The cafe upstairs would displace our family, we'd move somewhere else in town or very near. We wanna stay close, we love it. All of our kids are in the school district. So we're not planning on going anywhere. But the history of it is what really grabs us, and we wanna take care of these buildings like they should be taken care of. And and just look at the cost of the Folsom House, the work that was just done, that was astronomical. And these are big buildings, these are buildings that are very important to the town. And we want to take care of them the way they should be taken care of, and this would, and you know, the thing with the businesses up here, it's tough year round, it's tough, it's a seasonal place, you know? So, having a business that is full-time all year round would help build and grow the other businesses, so that's, in a nutshell, that's what I like to.
And we do just wanna clarify, we're not looking to aesthetically change our buildings. We don't want a big, ugly, as some people on Facebook like to say, hot shop. We're not looking for that. We're looking to keep our aesthetic. We're looking to keep the history preserved, and we're really hoping that we can share that with more people.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of tourist towns all over, and they use their old buildings. And there's throngs of people in town on the weekends that walk by, they take pictures, they walk up and down the stairs, they look in our windows, and they wanna touch these buildings. And they do, you walk into these old buildings, I mean, I just went into Marine's General Store for the first time ever, and you walk into that thing and that bell rings and you feel that big old door open, and it's amazing. It just is. People wanna touch that, people wanna feel that. And this would let more people do that. But they want to, they're all over the schoolhouse, the community center, they're all over this business. They wanna go in them, they wanna touch them, they wanna feel them. And I think we better utilize them.
Well, I would have a question as far as, what experience do you have in the dispensary business?
We do not have experience, but we have partnered with several people that are professionals in this field.
Are they here with you?
Yes, they are. Can we introduce them?
Oh, okay.
Any questions you could, yeah, for us, we can definitely answer for you. I've been an advocate for marijuana for the last 8 years. Been in business myself as a business owner for well longer than that. But, what drove me into this was, become a medical patient. And when you take your livelihood away from you and you're very successful, and all of a sudden you're stuck having to survive on something that you never really played with before, gave me a whole new profound look at this thing. That I saw it from a business standpoint and from a patient standpoint, that we can do amazing things for people in the community. As he was alluding to earlier, being able to help myself get through vomiting I barely made it here today, guys. I'm throwing up all morning. It's one of my conditions that I use marijuana to help with, and it got me here today, like legitimately. Where our backgrounds are is, I have been a businessman, like I said, for over 20 years. Running a pot shop, per se, is no different than running any other business. Well, we have guidelines and rules and regulations that we have to stand by, which the state is gonna put in play. There's gonna be security outlines that we have to put in play, which are gonna be pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. He'll explain to you as well. Most of these things are no different than running an auto shop, except for I'm not selling parts, I'm selling plants. And you're giving advice to people not about what kind of car to buy, but what kind of strain is gonna help with the nausea, or what's gonna help with the pain tomorrow morning. Because the reality that we've had over the years, guys, is 99% of people that smoke weed don't do it because they wanna get high. That's not even remotely the case. Most people maybe initially started smoking weed because they're like, ooh, it made me tingle. But eventually it was because there's something that was missing that they couldn't figure it out, and that plant solved it. That's the best way I can explain it to you. It just becomes an aha moment for you.
Me professionally, my background started professionally in cannabis in California, where I was the first business to request Ukiah County, which had similar requirements, where the county has their requirements and the local townships, they can choose to do what they wanted. We didn't have a local ordinance, and so I worked with the city in developing that. That was right at the turn of, Prop 64, 215 into 64, that was 10, 12 years ago. Since then, I've assisted several businesses in Minnesota on the low-dose edibles, providing standard operating procedures, security plans, which include security plans, inventory management systems, which with cannabis now, it's going to be all within the state monitoring system. We've gone with Metric, which is a nationally recognized company that it's a track and trace system. So this product is monitored from its initial conception and from a plant stage all the way through that final sale. Completely tracked, and we know exactly what plant, where it was, and the provisions in those respects, they are going to be very clearly laid out in the state, and maintaining them, it's going to be our top priority.
Well, in adherence to state law is really day-to-day, your SOP is basically adhering to state law. I mean, it is 100%, it's not gonna be one business to the next, it's gonna look differently. The facade might look differently, but what he's gonna do in his building, and what I'm gonna do in my building, when you walk in the door, is gonna be virtually the same. Because we're gonna be regulated 100% on how we treat every single, from the conversations that happen even in our building. We're gonna have a regulation from the standpoint, if she would walk in and talk about she's buying weed for her son. I don't know how old her son is, she's not buying weed for her.
Can't buy for anybody else.
You can't buy for anybody else. You can't have that conversation even in my presence, because now you can't buy from me today. Those regulations are all in place, they're not up for debate. They are as set in stone as it is to be a council member and have the rules that you have to follow procedurally. We have to follow those same rules procedurally every day or weekend at our licenses.
we also foresee a huge opportunity to the city, to the south of the town here, from this traffic and this bridge. Again, like you were saying, we can't, you can't take your product back to Wisconsin. This is gonna give, local businesses, local attractions, that much more time with patients, or with customers rather, because you come here and purchase, you're expected to consume here. And so, really reaching out to local businesses and local partners here to provide those recommendations on where can you go, what's a good attraction, what's gonna take you a couple hours, and, what's in the surrounding town, really, helping people stay in Taylor's Falls. As long as they can.
Spending their money here, because I mean, this is a partnership. Us being here and Larry being here, I've known Larry for better than 20 years now, well beyond Taylor's Falls here. The whole goal, I grew up in a small town, is making sure that that revenue doesn't slide over to Chisago or to Lindstrom. No offense, they're nice towns, but I would rather the tax dollars stay here. I grew up with a parent that told me, if the cheaper dollar places to buy down the road, it doesn't matter, the tax dollars stay here. And that's what matters, is keeping those tax dollars in town, in Taylor's Falls.
On that note, we really, like I said, want to work with the city at this point even, to help develop these local restrictions, local regulations, because we're all for it. We're not trying to fight the city. We want reasonable hours of operations. We want reasonable signage restrictions and historical building requirements to stay active. So if any assistance you guys need, I'd like to help in an impartial way, not biased, and really do what's best for the town, because what's best for cannabis is it's a long-term thing. Business, we're not looking at this as a 1-2 year thing in itself, which we do talk about the economic benefits or losses to big or small businesses, but we intend to stay the size we are and not really go this big thing. It's not we don't want cannabis to be this central focus of Taylor's Falls, and I don't think it ever will be. And I think that might be a fear that cannabis is going to come in and change the town. We want cannabis to help change the town, not to be the change.
Highlight the things that Taylor's Falls has to offer. I know one of the things we talked about initially was community outreach, getting to talk to people in the community, getting past the stigmatism, talking about my ailments with my nausea, with my 4-foot surgeries, with different patients that he's had. We would love to have a community outreach forum in any sort of forum that the community will allow us to be able to reach out and answer any of the questions anybody has, because you may think that your question is silly or whatever it might be. It's not, because everybody has a valid point to what they're asking. There's a reason. There's been 100 years of propaganda given to tell you guys this is a bad plant and it's only going to do harm to the community. It's going to take years and years of having conversations, full-fledged conversations, to get rid of that stigmatism.
Any questions? Lee?
I just wanted to say I had an opportunity to meet Larry and talk with him a little bit about the plans. It's nice to meet you as well. One thing, and I've not had the same opportunity with other people that have come to present to us, so just saying from this experience, the enthusiasm and excitement and pride that Larry showed and indicated in Taylor's Falls I was impressed, and made some very good points about the city and how we can improve, and it was just a really good conversation. I appreciate you reaching out.
If you guys haven't had a tour yet, I got to go and take a tour in Visions.
I did, yeah. And
Billy's really cool.
I don't know who the shoe repair guy was, because there was a guy who built our house, was a cobbler. So I don't know where he operated out of. Bear was his name. Jack.
Yeah. I was waiting for Jack to correct me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to keep on the board. Keep you in the loop when Elizabeth and the group get together and you're welcome to join the house and,
Great.
we'll develop a plan and I'll work on this together.
Great, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for that.
I didn't interrupt you, did I?
Nope. No, thank you.
right, next on the agenda would be the commercial property proposal.
Just say something.
Oh, please.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I read a headline in the Star Tribune today, I don't know if everyone can hear me. This is the subject, and I find this very uncomfortable. And I'm a damn progressive, my beloved Democrat Party did this, and I just can't believe it. I am really opposed to these things, and I don't know the sincerity of these folks, I really don't. But what really just gets me is, I don't see this as being beneficial for Taylor's Falls. And I'm gonna work against this, and I'm a pretty good organizer, until I learn differently. But in the headlines today, they talked specifically about many, many cities, and you alluded to this quite well, Jim, are putting on the brakes here. So all I'm saying is that maybe I need to learn more, but I'm really, really uncomfortable with this. And it's not because I'm a real rigid person, I don't think I am. I've never felt so uncomfortable about something that I can recall. I just don't see this. I keep thinking, where's somebody that opened a hardware store or another ice cream shop? But this whole thing with the marijuana thing is really, and again, I'm kind of surprised that I'm saying this because everybody knows me, I'm pretty much a leftist Democrat, progressive. Why am I struggling with this? Because maybe I'm almost 70 years old, I don't know. But thank you for listening, and I do thank the folks for their commentary. I believe their sincerity. So I'm gonna, until and I appreciate your saying, and like the other cities, Richfield, a lot of other cities in the state, even the LMC has made a statement that we really need to slow down. This thing's really in its infancy, and I just can't believe how I'm just appalled by this. Wow. So anyway, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? We're all chatting tonight, a lot.
There'll be more opportunities.
Oh, yes, there will be. Let's move on to, Rich, and we'll keep you in the loop too when we have those meetings, so you can join us and we'll all work together, so, thank you. The commercial property proposal in our packet, I had an opportunity to sit down and, I really want to figure out how we can get something in that park. And so, I was really excited. I've had 2 different people I've had an opportunity to sit down with. We've only gotten one proposal, and that's what's in the packet. But we've never really actively hardcore used a realtor for any of our commercial properties, from what I understand. And I think it's just another tool we can utilize to try to drive business there for a lot of great things and ideas to do, but we can find somebody that can make those happen. Most people that come and visit us have no clue it's even up the hill, right? Unless we divert traffic from 8. And so, this is just one idea. It's not me saying we need to do this. In fact, I'm not even expecting, unless we wanted to vote on moving forward with that, because I really would like to wait and see what our other proposal is from the gentleman Nancy and I met with. Month ago? So this is just an idea from Alyssa. She is a community member. Has she moved here yet? She's back in town? Yep, okay. And she kind of sat and brainstormed with us on what we're gonna do with this. We found out, my first thing was, let's rezone it to residential. We can't do that. Bolton and May came right after us and said, no. So, Alyssa's been working with Bolton and May before we had our zoning person here, and she came up with a proposal. So, to divide it and, see what we can do, list it. Good night. No, we're good. And she put a market analysis in here. She kind of had some other property over in North Branch to show what the comps are. So this is just an idea of what we can do with it. I really feel if we do this or we do the other opportunity that I'm excited as well, but it's not in the packet because I haven't gotten it yet. I just had the verbal vision with them. I think we could do something here. I think we need to do something. It'll increase obviously our tax revenue will increase, but it also is gonna bring people, new people into our community. Whether it's for work, or commercial, retail, I don't know, but I think, with somebody like Alyssa that loves this community so much, I really think going with somebody that loves the community is really gonna help us drive and give us an opportunity to even fill one lot out there. Cause all it takes is one and then, it'll spread hopefully, but, did any of you have any questions on the proposal? I mean, like I said, I'm not looking to vote necessarily on it tonight. I don't think we should. I think we should look at the other, idea.
Yeah, I mean, that was my main question is typically you get more than one proposal on this. This is a contract to provide services, so, and you can't just say we're done now. So I think it is important to get more than one, and I agree, I think we need to get more aggressive in how we're marketing these parcels that we have. The one downtown, the business park out here, whatever we can do. I've got a pretty extensive experience in the real estate area, and it's amazing what a good broker can do. So I'm in favor. Get more information and bring it back, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for getting this started. It looks very informative. I'm going through it, and I didn't go through it earlier, and it's actually kind of fun, hopeful to look at something like this. So I would suggest we postpone this to the next meeting, if I can, the next meeting in August, and then we'll have the other proposal as well by that time.
Yeah.
I think, okay.
Yeah.
And I would make that motion at this point.
Okay. Do I have a second to postpone the commercial property proposal until the August meeting?
No, second.
Any other discussion, or do you have anything you want to add?
It's the right thing to do, I mean, the billboard is not sale of property, the agents do, so, it's the right thing to do, it's a great step forward for the property.
Lee, any comments?
No, it's a good idea. Get moving and, once you get the other proposal, move ahead on.
Alright. Well, we already got the second, so all those in favor of moving the commercial property proposal to the August, meeting, so we'll have two to look at and compare, say aye.
Aye.
Alright, on to number 5, the finance committee discussion. I put this on the agenda, got this idea from reading internet stuff too much, but I know we're gonna be coming up to budget season very quickly. 3 of us are new, and we have a lot of work to do, and we're gonna have to change some things up, and it's gonna make some hard decisions. And what I really envisioned was I'd like to get the community involved a little more on this, and I would like each council member, not me, I'm gonna be on the committee, but I would like each council member to nominate somebody, not tonight, but take time to think about it, and nominate a community member to be on the finance committee where we can meet, and then report back as a committee to the council as we're going through budgeting, just on things that they might see, because let's face it, we're all gonna see different things, and if we involve people that come from different walks of life, they might see other things and have other ideas.
I just wonder, can we nominate our spouses?
I'm not going to, and that's
Oh.
no slam on Julie.
Okay.
I'm not going to. I don't wanna put her in this room, so I keep her away. But I guess that'd be a good question for the rest of the council,
I think you just bring a nomination to the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly.
So I don't think, I don't see why you can't. Okay. Community member? Yeah?
Mr. Mayor, I would offer my assistance too. I've got a long, strong background in budgeting and
Sure.
finance, so if you need a co or a sub.
Yeah,
just
sure, most
if you
definitely.
can't make a meeting, sometimes it's nice to have somebody else there too, so I'd offer my part to play in that as well.
Okay. Lee? Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, Larry?
Well, you know, the budget is the backbone of the city, and as many, as much input as we can get from the council level and the residential level, I think is most beneficial. So.
All right.
Yeah, I would, when we're thinking about nominating, we've got residents and business owners. Some might not be, business owners might not be residents, but the businesses are our backbone too. So I'd like to think we'd have at least one business owner, on the committee.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, any?
Thank you. Nope, I got nothing else.
Good, all right, well, let's, I wanna, obviously we don't have anybody in or not, I mean, we might have had somebody pop up, but let's wait till the August meeting to come back with a nomination, from each of you, and then, we'll go from there. So, we don't really need to vote on anything right now, it's just discussion, so. Number 6 is the gambling license for the Goat Saloon, thank you for being patient. Come on.
I will say that, this meeting's been way more interesting probably than the home run derby tonight that I was gonna watch. I'm here representing, the Branch Area Hockey Association. I'm just, coming to request, a sign off on the, premise permit for charitable gambling in a Goat Saloon. That's it.
Thanks for keeping it quick.
I know, it's basically, the owners wanted to go from was it the Schaefer?
Fire department, I think it was.
To the hockey association, so, we were just waiting for the proper paperwork and we didn't have a second meeting, so. That's everything I know when I was standing in the office making the decision.
And we did have, it was years ago, but we've been in Taylor's Falls before, it was like 20 years ago. And it's just the owner, it's really comfortable, so we go all North Branch area.
Do you do all his locations?
Uh,
Like the pizza pub locations?
Yeah, but we don't do Chisago or
Okay.
other ones, just the North Branch one.
Okay.
So is it true that when Schaefer Fire Department had it, some of the proceeds they put back into our community?
That was my question, how much of this stays in the community?
Yeah, there's this ordinance you guys have that's 10% of the net every month. So, and also because of that, I hope we can get this done soon because we've already missed a month and a half. And I still have to snail mail this into the gambling control board, which if I don't get it in there, we won't be able to start on August 1st. So if we can get this signed off, like right now, maybe.
Right now sounds great. I'll make the motion that we approve the gambling license for the Goat Saloon.
All right, do I have a second?
I would say.
All right.
Thank you.
All those in favor of approving the gambling license for the Goat Saloon, say aye.
Aye.
It might have to be tomorrow though.
Does it have to be
I
done?
mean,
today?
just to do a sign.
But we're in the middle of a meeting,
Okay.
so.
Give it a couple seconds, we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, so, we are through the agenda. I wanna thank everybody so much. One thing I wanna challenge the council to do coming back here in August, is to come back with one nice thing to say about each other. We have a lot of pent up energy. I don't wanna see what we can do about that. We're not all gonna like each other, and that's fine, but, and I appreciate that. I think when we get upset and we show our passion, that just means we love the community so much. But I'd just like to see maybe if we all come back with something nice to say, it might go out into the public too, and then we can see nice comments on Facebook. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll keep everybody informed on the cannabis as we work through it. We appreciate everybody, and I need a motion and a second to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Okay, I was.